one bit of bad recruitment, well, it's looking like a bit of bad recruitment, is YOANE WISSA to Newcastle. You mentioned him already, but he's already injured. Apparently, according to a lot of reports, as we're recording this on Friday afternoon, it looks like he's going to miss the first game that he can play for Newcastle due to injury that he picked up for Congo in the qualifier against Senegal.
Yeah.
It's a big fee that they've spent on him, £45 million deadline day. He wanted the move.
Right, I think it was more than that. I thought, was it 45 plus add-ons or just 45?
Plus add-ons, yeah. So, Kojo, you're here. Welcome. Welcome. Nice of you to join us.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
joking.
What I'm going to say is actually, I'll try and say it without saying it too loud. Theo, we've had conversations about this when certain people are in meetings and they just drag on conversations. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I hope you're good though. Hope you're good. We were just talking about Wissa. I was just talking about obviously missing the first game. He's picked up an injury again for Congo against Senegal in the World Cup qualifier. Just going to ask Basil, £45 million with add-ons as well. It looks like he's going to miss that first game for Newcastle. Basil, do you think? Well, first of all, do you think this deal, as we've just been talking about transfer fees as well, can this materialise into a very good deal for Newcastle, and does it still keep them in the conversation for top 4, top 6 finish?
Maybe a top 6. I've never had Newcastle's top. I think they've recruited badly.
I agree.
Because I don't think they bought enough. Not because of who they brought. I don't think they brought in enough players for other positions. And so teams like Newcastle, I've never looked at them as a regular top 4 contender. I've always looked to them as a one-off. Because I look at their players, what I've said, they've got a decent squad, okay, for top 10, but I don't think they have a great squad that can consistently go again. So I think fall off this season rather than go again, because I don't look at their squad and think there's enough quality there for them to go regularly season after season. I look at them as like, you finish top 4 and maybe might get top 4 again, maybe another 2-3 seasons. Because I think everything they do is around teamwork and great work ethic. Whereas sometimes we need to have individuals who can win you games. And the loss of Isak will be very, very big for them. Not only does he score, he also links up with the other players, and he can kind of be in positions to help the team create goals. So I think they've lost a lot. Vissa, I don't know. Like, I was unsure about Vissa because I think Vissa did well for Brentford, and I always look at Vissa as like he was good for Brentford, but I don't know what he's going to be like in a different club in a different environment. So when they signed him, I was like, let me see what he's like in the first few games to have a proper assessment as to what he'll do. Could do well, may not do well, but I just looked at it as like he understood that Brentford system and thrived in that Brentford system. Will he thrive in a Newcastle system? So I think at the moment they're saying he will definitely miss this weekend's game, definitely. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, whether it's just this weekend or whether it's longer. If it's long term, then they have problems, to be honest. Because then having one striker who's very young and needs to adapt to the Premier League, it's a bit of a high risk. And also, I think he's still banned for like another 2 games. And I don't know if Osula is the answer for the striking problems.
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at it here now. It looks like it says he's out indefinitely. It's a major injury that he's picked up. So it don't sound good. It does not sound good at all. It's a massive. Kojo, what do you think? Obviously, Wissa, linked up very heavily with Mbeumo for Brentford, and they had a really good sort of connection on the pitch and were able to score goals for Brentford. But they've got 6 new faces at Newcastle. One of those is Jacob Ramsey as well. Watermaid, is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. He's coming in. We just spoke before you joined about the fee that Newcastle paid for him coming in, and it's a lot. So do you feel like Newcastle? I feel like they've downgraded the squad as opposed to upgraded the squad.
I think it's a throw of the dice because I think they always knew that Isak was going to go anyway, and this whole longing out of it just made things worse for them. And then obviously the lack of planning properly for a plan B and a plan C when your plan A didn't work out, because they lost a lot of plan A's. So, the players that would have ideally improved them have now gone elsewhere, and the players that they want to improve them is going to be a lot of work in progress unless they somehow all hit the ground running. So I'm not particularly impressed with how they conducted themselves in the window, nor am I impressed with their signings. Bayern's, I don't know if it's president or whatever, said that, they were never going to pay any more than a certain fee. And people were like, well, you got to get your money up. So it's not that much getting your money up. They're not going to be taken for months. We literally start falling for strikers that have one great year and get it off. And Wissa was their big hope because Wissa, I think, last year. But if he's out long term, you're asking a lot from a guy who's had one great year in Germany coming out to it. So I don't expect him to be possible. And it wouldn't surprise me either if they're not keeping that game this year. It could be opposite next year. It could be out of Europe completely. We'll have to see. But I'm not thoroughly impressed by their deals.
No, I'm not either, to be fair. No. They got Wolverhampton tomorrow. They then follow it with Bournemouth. Then they got Arsenal at the end of September. So if he's out for a long period of time, it's some crucial games he'll be missing, Wissa. But hopefully he's back. And I want to see what he can do. I mean, obviously they asked Eddie Howe why they spent so much on Wissa, and he said he's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. So I kind of get it from that extent. But at the same time as well, as I've mentioned, he's playing with Mbumo. He understood, like you said, Basil, he understood how Brentford wanted to play and how Thomas Frank wanted him to play. Coming into a different team, how they set up the team and all the rest of it, it's going to take some time to adjust. So I don't know.
Can I just say this proven goal scorer thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it back up from you after.
He's got 45 goals and he's been here for about 4 or 5 years now. That doesn't sound proven to me. I think we need to calm down a little bit. I think what he needs to say is he had a great year last year. The year previously was decent. So we're going to hope that he can add the goals to it. Proven goal scorer, he is not. I'm sorry, he's just not. He's not even. I don't think he's even 1 in 3, or he's just about trying to get to 1 in 3, which is not bad, but it's not gunman. It's not a gunman. So I think he needs to calm down. Yeah, I'm not saying he shouldn't big up his striker in public either. Of course, do your thing, but you don't have to say he's proven. Just say he scores goals, and I'm like, you know what, fair play. So yeah, but anyway, that's what you gonna say.
Yeah, no, like it's a good thing you both, because I listen to Talk Sports sometimes, and it's your I think it's Rory Smith, if I'm correct, the Chelsea fan.
Oh yeah.
There's two phrases, and he loves using the phrases, which I absolutely hate because it means nothing. There's two. One is, as Coach said, proven Premier League goal scorer or proven Premier League player, and I was like, what does that mean? Because what will happen is, sometimes what people, they'll look at signings clubs make from outside of the Premier League, and they'll question, why did they sign that player when they could have signed this player because it's Premier League proven? I was like, what does that mean? He hasn't done it in the Premier League, but because he's played in the Premier League, people say Premier League proven. So they say, oh yeah, he knows the league, it'll be easier to adapt. I'm like, no, it's about quality. A lot of players that come from abroad and proven themselves worthy in the Premier League. It's not about whether you played in the Premier League. It's about, do you have the quality to help those clubs elevate to the level that they want to? Just because you played in the Premier League doesn't mean you're going to help a team win the Premier League. So I always hate when people say, as Coach just said, proven Premier League goal scorer, proven Premier League. What does that mean? Because I've watched players week in, week out, and I can tell you, some of these players aren't that great. And as I said, some of these players are suited to a system of a club because they've been there long enough. So it makes them look better than what they are. Doesn't mean that if they go to a bigger club, they're going to thrive. Because we've seen it so many times. When players move from one club to a bigger club in the Premier League and you realise, oh, he's not good enough to operate at that. He's good enough to operate at that level, lower level, but not at the highest level. So I've always hated the term when people say proven Premier League goal scorer or proven Premier League player. For me, it means nothing. We just want quality. That's the only thing we want, regardless of where you come from.
I think a good example of that, and it's slightly different to what you just said, is Raheem Sterling for when he moved from City to Chelsea. I think he was proven that he could play in a particular system under Pep Guardiola. He moved to Chelsea. You could already tell, first of all, that it wasn't going to be one of those signings that he was going to come in and help Chelsea do anything really. Then he went to Arsenal. And he again, another well-established Premier League club, and he couldn't even fit into that squad there. And he's come back and he still hasn't got his move. So I think very different example to what you were saying, but one that kind of links into it because how long's he been in the Premier League and what's he done in the last 4 years or 3 years that he can actually pat himself on the back for and say, I've helped do this, or I was part of this, or he hasn't been part of anything. So
it's a good example for you. Like I said, you're talking about, like I said, Premier League proven. Doesn't mean that those qualities are going to transfer effectively to another club, elevate them to that level. And that is a good example of that.
It is interesting, but we'll have to see with Wissa. I think for the fee that they've paid, and I think the worrying thing for Wissa is he ain't going to get no slack from the Newcastle fans because they've just lost Isak, and they're going to see someone come through the door. They're going to want the same numbers that Isak was pulling out, and so he's not going to get much time in terms of from the fans, I don't think, to, if he's not pulling his weight there or he's not scoring the goals, they're going to get onto him straight away because they've lost what they wanted to keep.